Okay, this is a tutorial on how to make my honeycomb bee farm, honeycomb blossom bee farm. Basically it supports the hives in this little hexagonal lattice so that you can walk over the top of them and easily collect the honey. All of the hives can be happy, though it's a little bit tricky sometimes to get them there. And this holds 12 of them, which is a pretty convenient amount because you get just about a stack of honey when it's all ready to go. So I'm going to show you how to make this as soon as I respawn. I've turned on cheats because I don't have time for that. And we're just going to start with a 4-meter round beam. You might want to go in kind of a raised area. I think altitude does matter. Another strange thing that matters is the first piece you put down is better to have it north-south or east-west. So check your mini-map, rotate yourself around. I think right now I'm facing directly south. Yeah, this looks like south. And we're going to place a 1-meter beam south. Then we're going to go 3 ticks on either side. And this is the start of our hexagon. So from here we can make a sort of zigzag in either direction, going 2 ticks in each direction each time. And then you can put these horizontal pieces in at each intersection. And then again you rotate 3 out from each side and you'll be back in the zigzag part of it. And this is basically how you make this part of the lattice. Now to put the hives in, you can either put them in from below. You can just look up from underneath and kind of stick them in there. This works, but it's a little bit finicky to get them to be around the same height and to look nice. What you can do is if you get one of them somewhere you like, you can put a floor underneath it and make the other ones match. And now you should be able to look down into the hexagons and place your hives that way. You can try to center them. They don't seem to snap anywhere, but you can kind of center them based on that little brown dot that's in the middle at the very top of the roof. And I think that's a pretty good height. Comfortable and walkable. Make sure that you're comfortable walking over it. You don't get stuck in the corners or have too much trouble walking across them before you go with the whole structure. But so this is the basic technology. You can extend this. You can put in more of these vertical poles to support it. You can frame it however you want and then get some ladders to come up here and collect it. What I did in particular was to make this kind of medium-sized circle where I could fit 12 and then put petals around it. So let me show you how to do that. The problem I ran into is basically that there are 2 fundamental circles you can make in Valheim. There's the 2-meter beam circle and the 1-meter beam circle. The 2-meter beam circle was too big and the 1-meter beam circle was too small. So what I did was use the outer circle as a framing. So I made a 90-degree inwards going piece from the left side of each one of these outer ones, like this. And then you can use the ends of these guys to snap in your inner circle. So I'm basically completing 3 sides of a square for each of these. It can be a little bit hard to get it to snap. You kind of have to look at the end of the last piece, rotating once each time. And that basically gives you this slightly larger circle, which it turns out is just about the right size to fit 12 hexagons. So that's what we're going to do over here. We're going to start by using 2 of these guys to snap into, like this. And this is going to be the beginning of our inner circle. So we're going to go out 1 to start our framing circle on the outside. And then you can start to build this outer circle, like so. Okay, so here's what it should look like. You have your outer framing circle and the inner one that you actually want. Remember to put in some supports for the inner circle specifically, and then you can remove the entire outer circle. So now we can build out the rest of our flooring and finish this honeycomb. And I'll show you what that looks like. So if everything has gone well, you should hopefully have 12 spots that you can reasonably fit a hive in. Sometimes you won't be able to place it anywhere, like in this case. What's going on there is that the floor I put in is just a little bit too high, so it won't let it go in. So you're going to have to remove this floor and lower it a tiny bit, and then try again. Or you can also just attach it from the bottom. Okay, now we've got all of our hives in here. We're going to start putting on some petals. We're going to use 26-degree beams, and I'm just going to put it so that it kind of points towards the middle, like this. Now here I've attached, I think, to the left part of one of these beams, so wherever you attach, just go over one beam and do the same thing. These are parallel now, and they should be kind of both pointing towards the middle. Then you're going to do 2 clicks of rotation and attach to the next beam over, and the next one. 2 clicks of rotation, next beam, the next one, and do this all the way around. And at the edge of each of these beams, we're going to connect it to the one to the side of it. So we're going to rotate 1, 2, 3 in towards the next one, 1, 2, 3 in towards the next one, and hopefully they should connect like that and make a nice petal. Okay, so hopefully you should have a nice set of 8 petals that are mostly symmetrical. And now we're going to put in the inner ring of decoration, which is again 26 degrees beams, and we're just going to sink it in on top of the beam that's parallel to it, like this. Then rotate 2 clicks and find the next one that's parallel here. 2 clicks. We're going to go all the way around like this. And once that's done, we're going to go the other way around. We're going to rotate. And you want to rotate so that it's connected to the top of the last one, and it intersects the next one over, making kind of an X with a little bit of overlap like this. See how it's going past it? And that's what you're looking for. And then again, you're going to rotate 2 over and put it down like so. Whoops. All the way around. Okay, there we go. Now we have our inner petals and our outer petals completed. What you have to do now is check to see if the bees are happy. Now, if you did make this first piece here oriented north-south or east-west, I think you have a much better chance, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm pretty lucky here. I think I only have 1 or 2 on the edges that say they need more open space. Usually what you can do, every time I run into anyways, is just remove them and replace them with slight movements of where they're located. And that should hopefully let you make them happy. Sometimes it takes a few tries. There you go. So do that to any bees that aren't happy. You may have to slightly raise or lower them by moving the floor around underneath them, or in the worst cases, move one of these petal beams over a little bit to try to change what's around them. So the reason why I think that the north-south thing matters is because beehives basically check around them in 8 directions, both horizontally and up at a 45-degree angle, and also above them. And a combination of all of these directions is taken into account to see if they're currently covered by structures and thus unhappy. So I did some testing over here, and these beehives are both unhappy, even though the beehives themselves are rotated in different orientations. And these beehives over here are both happy, even though, again, they're rotated relative to each other. So I think what's going on is the bees always check the same 8 directions relative to the map, not relative to their position. So rotating the bees doesn't matter, but the direction around them that structures are does matter. And the way that the lattice is, it's a little bit tighter in one direction than the other because the hexagons aren't symmetrical. And so I think basically you just want to have these shorter edges of the hexagon be oriented either north-south or east-west. So just do that. You'll give yourself an easier time. You won't have to replace the hives as often. So the last little touches to get this all to look nice are to put in a ladder so you can actually get up there. I like to kind of look for, oh, here we go, I got lucky, a petal where the ladder fits nicely in the right orientation. You can't find it again, of course. There you go, that's a nice one. Okay, so try to get a ladder to be nicely centered if it'll let you, and then hopefully you can walk up it and through the petal and give a little hop into your farm. There you go. The last detail is putting in some 45-degree beams so that you have the kind of bottom of the flower shape instead of these big poles. I would try not to remove the floor just yet at this point, because it's possible these beams will make the hives unhappy, and it might be worth removing them and replacing them. So I'm just going to put in maybe 4 of these. And each one of these is going to be connected to a round pole, because this one's a bit higher off the ground. Okay, now finally you can remove your flooring. And you should be left with just 12 hives nicely hanging from your honeycomb blossom bee farm. So I haven't found a way to protect these inner lattice pieces from the rain yet. Angled beams, for whatever reason, don't get worn down by the rain. I guess they were assumed to be on the outsides of roofs by the developers, so they're protected. But these guys do turn gray, which is kind of sad. I don't know if there's any way to get a roof over it without the bees being unhappy based on the way that they check for occlusions. I'd love to see that happen if someone can figure it out. Definitely post photos if you make something like this or something inspired by it. I'd love to see what you come up with. And thanks for watching.